Whatto chaps, I'm MagicalMike. This is Troll's Revenge, the jumping puzzle in Lion's Arch, and I have no script for this video, so I'm just gonna do it live, as that one guy said, famously, and then got himself into a whole heap of trouble, so hopefully I don't manage that. Anyway, I'm also gonna be doing it in first person, on my Necro, because somebody recently said, hey, it kind of bothers me that this guy's called MagicalMike and he never plays any casters. So hey! I'm on a caster, not casting any skills at all, so that's specifically for you, Mr. Dude, and there you go. So yeah, I wouldn't say I skipped the start of it properly there, but there's a whole section of roofing that you can jump along and do all sorts of things over there, and right at the start, and you can just opt to jump over the boat to get to these roofs and across all those ropes and things. And you do miss out on some interesting views and some nice little bits and pieces that you can jump across, but to be honest, it's not that big of a deal and you end up saving yourself some time. I'm not going to say that this is going to be much of a guide to this puzzle, but I'll probably end up talking about it anyway, because that's what the footage is of course. I should also mention that I'm running Signet of the Locust, so I do have 25% movement speed, but that's not such a big deal. I've done this plenty of times on my Mesmer with no movement speed and no Signet of Inspiration? Is that the one that gives you swiftness? I don't know. I'm not a great Mesmer here, so don't really know what I'm talking about. Anyway, some of these jumps, bit of a sketchy one there, nearly fell off that roof. That would have been sort of embarrassing. This puzzle took me, I don't know, 2 hours, 3 hours to do on the first night that I found it. I didn't even know it existed on the daily update until I saw, I think it was Wingy? Yeah, I think I saw her stream it, and, well, what do you know, there was a jumping puzzle in Lion's Arch, so I stopped and I went, alright, I'm gonna go do it for myself and not spoil it, and yeah. Even with that many people doing it that night, still took me 3 hours-ish to do, and while I would describe that as being rough, I would also describe it as being a hell of a lot of fun. Like, this puzzle is massive. In fact, here it takes me just under 20 minutes to do it, and I know where I'm going and I have movement speed buffs. I imagine you could probably get this down to like 15 minutes with no mistakes, and if you were good, then maybe, I don't know, I want to guess like 12 minutes? If somebody shows me a video that isn't edited and is in first person in like 12 minutes, then I'd quite like to see that. It'd be pretty impressive. But I guess I should talk about Lion's Arch and some of the... there's my mini there, just sort of notice him ahead of me awkwardly like that. Lion's Arch and some of the awkward points where I fell off and caused myself no end of pain on my Mesmer that night. I even had portals and just didn't set them up all the time and paid the price in the end. But yeah, Lion's Arch, massive redesign. Really enjoying the whole new layout of the city. While it isn't particularly utilitarian, like the bank is next to the trading post and that's pretty cool, the merchants are really far away from the bank across the big, I think it's Lion's Court it's called? I don't remember, I haven't memorised these areas yet. It is quite a walk to get to a merchant, and yeah, you could say that's a bad thing, but honestly it doesn't matter. Lion's Arch is still new, it's still interesting, and for the time being that inconvenience isn't really a big deal at all. Especially when I could just go to Divinity's Reach anyway and just use their services, which I often do. Here, also another point that I fell off twice, because the roof is quite close to your head on a Norn, and that caused me to fall off there twice into the water where I had no portal equipped and immediately lost that skill. So rip that, rip the urn, that's no fun. Yeah, there's me taking a screenshot, by the way. That's why the frame lag happened. Alright, a few other things to talk about. I've started doing Dungeons and Dragons streams on my Twitch, so if you're interested in seeing me and my guild do some nerd games, I don't know how to describe D&D. In fact, I don't know how to describe our group at all. We're dysfunctionally, awkwardly okay, is how I'll describe that. I've no idea. If you want to come and see us watch ourselves, no. If you want to come and watch us play Pathfinder, then you can absolutely do that. It's on my Twitch every Sunday night at 10 PM GMT. I have no idea when that is in Central, Eastern, or Pacific, but is it Pacific? I don't know. I don't know when that is if you're not in England, but 10 PM GMT Sundays. If you want to come and watch us play D&D for 3 hours, that's fun. We've just started streaming, so we're still getting used to it, but yeah, pretty interesting experience for me. And if you want to see us roleplay, then that's what you want to come and do. This should be going up on Thursday night, I think, so also recently I did an interview with Professor Tesla on his blog. There's the Tyrian Archivist, so if you want to go and read many things that I had to say, I think I had far too much to say, and when I start writing, I don't know when to stop. That's a cool shot of that char on that lobster, by the way. I like the lobster. It's an interesting little feature of Lion's Arch. There's many things about Lion's Arch that I haven't mentioned in this, but it's a very visual video. Frowning at myself there, that's a stupid thing to say. Anyway, there's a lot of things to say. If you want to go and read what I had to say and how I answered his questions, then you can absolutely go and do that. I'll put a link in the description of this video. If you want to go give him some views, give him some love. He's a nice guy, interviewed a lot of people from the community, and I would strongly advise that you go and read all of their interviews too, if you are, or even if you're not interested in what they have to say, because they do offer some interesting opinions on the state of the game, Heart of Thorns, metas, video making in general, streaming, all that sort of stuff. So yes, link in the description to that if you want to go and view those things. Here's a jump that I absolutely hated. Yep, fell off there a good 2 or 3 times. That was fairly miserable. Glad I got it first try here. And here's another jump that many people didn't see the first time through, and I almost just fell off again. I haven't fallen off there yet, and hopefully I won't in future, but I did see 3 people on my first run fall down there immediately, and that was fairly depressing for them. The laments in map chat were strong and loud and lasted for quite a while. Oh dear. Here's where I've had probably my worst fall ever in Guild Wars 2 jumping puzzle history. Yeah, my fall here, I fell right to the ground, and it's not a pleasant experience, because it's pretty much a blind jump. If you're in first person, it's much easier. By the way, don't touch those parrots or parakeets. I don't know what species of bird, type. What am I even talking about? I don't know what kind of bird those are. They'll knock you off as well. Don't touch them, and don't fall, because if you fall, it looks like you can get back up, but in fact you cannot. Also, thing that I haven't seen mentioned anywhere else, not even on Reddit or anything. There's actually a hidden carca in that bar somewhere. There's a pile of rocks with like a dead guy, ? He could just be drunk or knocked out or unconscious or something. There's a guy on the ground with no health. And a pile of rocks with a carca hatchling in there that you cannot shoot. It's not part of the scavenger hunt. So, either it's forgotten about, or it's going to be a plot point in future, or it's an Easter egg or something. Don't fall off here. It's not that dangerous if you fall, by the way, but don't fall. It's a jumping puzzle, you're not supposed to be falling. So yes, that carca, and I've had people glitch inside there, and manage to glitch themselves inside and try and shoot with the rifle. You cannot shoot it. There are multiple angles where you can get a shot on it, but it is impossible to actually do anything with it, so yeah, semi-interesting little thing in the bar there. If you want to go find it, then you can go have a look if you like. Right, what else? What else have we got to talk about? The Specializations have been an enormous update in a long time. While I'm really thirsty for content in Guild Wars 2 at the moment, the Specialization update has been massive for reinvigorating the game for me. There's a ton of new traits that I absolutely love. I'd say that build variety has surprisingly not been affected very much. Yes, you can't do 3 adept traits anymore if you wanted to do that, so that's losing some variety. But the change itself has made a lot more... Whoa! Talk about that jump in a second. The change itself has made a lot more builds a lot more viable. You can pick any 3 random specializations that you want on pretty much any class and come out with something that works, and I really quite enjoy that fact while I stumble across this roof here. This jump isn't hard at all. The jump that I just did when I looked down, I challenge you guys to jump this entire puzzle in first person and look down every time you jump across a gap. It's the most disorienting thing you could probably do in this puzzle, apart from lowering your FOV to absolute minimum. There's somebody who did that too, and guy, you are crazy. You are absolutely insane. But the second most disorienting thing is just looking down as you jump across things, because you can't tell where you need to stop holding the W key or your double mouse click, and it's pretty terrifying if you're afraid of heights, which luckily I'm not, but many people are. And if you are, then you probably shouldn't do that. These jumps are also pretty nasty too, where you have to jump around a thing. But aside from that, there's only really one more jump that I consider particularly mean, which I failed at multiple times as well, which is probably why I consider it to be mean. Yes, so what about the meta? The meta has been established already. Of course, DNT instantly on that, and that was pretty cool of them to be all over the build scene within a day of that happening. But despite there goes my voice. Despite the meta being established that quickly, it hasn't caused any elitism from what I've seen, which is probably the most awesome thing about the patch. Like, no elitism at the moment is really cool. This is the jump, not this one. This from this plank to this roof. Yeah, don't try and go across those strutty-outy wooden bits below it, because you will fall, you will die, you will be miserable, and you will quit the game and uninstall and never come back. Of course, that is a massive lie. You will fail a jump, but you will come back to it out of sheer frustration later on, which is what I did. Again, at least twice that night, and again a few times later on when I was helping my friends Av and Koo and Valak through this thing. Miserable experience to fall there, especially when you're the Mesmer and they're relying on you to help them through it. So what else about the meta? Condis are pretty... I don't know, they've found a place, at least in PvP, although I don't agree with that place. I think they're absolutely out of control at the moment. Burning is way too strong, it's insane, but what are you going to do? I think they might change burning at some point, but for now, not really seeing it go anywhere for at least a while. In fact, the only changes that we've had since then, I'm recording this on Tuesday the 7th of July, yes, yeah, had to check there. As of right now, there's been no changes to those original, like, specializations and stuff. So all we've had is, on Engineer, Grenadier has been disabled, so no more one-shot silly stuff, unless you're playing a static discharge build, which takes a little bit more skill than pressing one button, but still not that much more. And Symbolic Avenger, I think was the name of the trait for Guardian, that's been disabled. That seemed like a lot of fun to run 5 Guardians in dungeons and open world stuff, and just absolutely melt everything with ridiculously scaling traits that weren't supposed to be working that way. Clearly these two things were bugged. I wish that they'd been fixed instead of just straight up disabled, but I don't know. Maybe there's a much deeper problem than I know of. I don't know. It's just a shame. But it's understandable, because this patch has been enormous. Also, that jump that I just made there that was not even a jump because the rope was connected, yeah, I fell off there too. Yes, that was also a miserable experience. I've mostly been playing recently in PvP, that's structure PvP. I'm not the best. In fact, I consider myself pretty average at PvP. I can I usually have a decent judge of what's going on based on the minimap and rotations and things like that, but when it comes to actually holding my own in a fight, I would say that I'm average at best. I have currently been playing a Hammer Greatsword Warrior build and an Eviscerate build, which I would hope to bring out in a video, but haven't got around to that yet because I spent 17 minutes detailing Eviscerate builds, and it just did not need to be that long, so I've got to redo that video, expect that soon, along with some other stuff, like a couple of Deus Ex Human Revolution videos if I ever get around to those. Man, I'm reminding myself of the Skyrim video that I need to... the Iron Man Skyrim stuff that I need to continue. Oh, I've got stuff that I'm procrastinating on because it's too warm and rendering things in the heat is... Again, I've used the phrase multiple times today, it's a miserable experience, and hopefully today's cooler so I can render this and it's nice. Anyway, went off on a tangent there. Hello, random Mesmer lady there. I have been playing a bunch of PvP. The NG build I have is a static discharge build. I don't know if it's meta, I don't know if it's any good even, but it is just a berserker static discharge thing. I'm not particularly happy about it. I wish I had a decent substitute for the Celestial Rifle build that I was previously using. We're coming up on the end here, just fast forwarding this gathering. This is the end of the video. I will also quickly mention Necro's awesome. I've run out of time, I had so many things to say. Necro Blood Magic is really awesome in PvP, PvE. Ranger has a lot of really fun builds to talk about and play. Thief is out of control with its one-shot cloak and dagger stuff. Ellie, meh, don't really care. And Mesmer. I'm having a lot of trouble with Mesmer at the moment. With one-shot shatter builds are really easy to play, and seemingly boring AFK, cheesy PU builds, full of condies and clones that aren't a whole lot of fun to fight. But there you go, that's my experience. I've run out of time. I've been MagicalMike, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. I really should have planned that video much better, shouldn't I? I just totally ran out of time there. Whoopsie!